Do you have a thirst to learn about wine? Do you love stories about wonderfully obsessive people, hauntingly beautiful places, and amusingly awkward social situations? Well, that's the blend here on the Unreserved Wine Talk podcast. I'm your host, Natalie McLean, and each week I share with you unfiltered conversations with celebrities in the wine world, as well as confessions from my own tipsy journey as I write my third book on this subject. I'm so glad you're here. Now pass me that bottle, please, and let's get started. Welcome to episode 28. This Sunday is Father's Day, so I'm going to get downright practical in this episode with some terrific gift wines and suggestions that you can buy dear old dad. Now, I recognize that not everyone celebrates Father's Day for a variety of reasons. Mine was that my father was an alcoholic and my mother left him when I was 2 years old. However, I had a wonderful grandfather and several other men in my life, teachers, coaches, who were inspirational role models, and I think of them on Father's Day. So you will find links to all of the wines I recommend in the show notes at nataliemclean.com/28. You'll also find links to which liquor stores closest to you have these wines in stock right now, and how many bottles of each are on the shelves. Both my website and my free mobile apps for iPhone and Android use real-time inventory updates and GPS location data to give you this info. You can download my free mobile app at nataliemclean.com/mobile app. Now, on to our episode. As one comedian noted, fatherhood is pretending that the gift you love most is soap on a rope. But why not give dad something he'll truly love, like wine? But how to choose the perfect bottle? And is there such a thing as a man's wine versus a woman's wine? Of course, that's all awash once you're onto your third glass of Pinot or Cabernet. Granted, this is not exactly a hot-button issue, but it's timely, so let's dig in. Research studies have found that 58% of men say they drink beer more often as their alcoholic beverage of choice, versus only 17% who say wine. Conversely, 43% of women say they drink wine most often, versus only 28% who say beer. Perhaps that's why wines aimed at women were first on the scene. Think Little Black Dress, Girls' Night Out, Mad Housewife, and many others. It's probably inevitable that men's labels should follow, sort of like evolution, but on a smaller focus group scale. Most of us shop for wine based on a label since we usually can't try wine before we buy, unlike a book where you can read the first chapter or a dress that you can try on. However, my partner Miles loves a dry rosé, and he's man enough to admit it in mixed company. Real men do drink pink. But he seems to be a wine unicorn if you go by some of the marketing aimed at men. For example, in a Super Bowl ad a few years ago, men at a wine and cheese tasting kept sneaking into the kitchen to drink beer that was secretly ensconced in a hollow wheel of cheese. It appears, though, that wine marketers have jumped on the red-blooded bandwagon, or rather race car. One California winery has sponsored a NASCAR event on Father's Day for several years now. Others have taken a more direct approach in naming their wines for men. The Slammer is a robust Syrah from Big House Wines, whose winery is close to a California state prison, aka the Big House. The dude on the label is absolute gangsta. Gnarlyhead, another California winery, aims its marketing at men who love beer from a keg. Carnivore, a Gallo brand, uses the hashtag #DevourLife, aiming at millennial males. Then there's the popular gag gift wine named Fat Bass. You can fill in the last part. It rhymes with tastard. I always thought that they missed a golden marketing opportunity not featuring a rather rotund man on the label with jeans plunging to plumber half-mast, or should I say half-assed, Another winery inscripted GPS coordinates to rugged hiking trails on its corks. Not that women don't enjoy the great outdoors, the winery hastened to add. Naturally, that leads us to canned wine, one of the fastest growing segments in the wine biz, accounting for about 70 million in sales in the US alone last year. Perfect for backpacking weekends in the woods or tailgating parties at NASCAR. One of my intrepid online course students, Mike Welling in Toronto, sent me a link to a terrific New York Times article by Eric Asimov, who wrote that, quote, many of the early canned wines were made of unknown grapes from dubious origins, pitched at people who were intimidated by wine culture. But Sans, that's a California winery he discusses, its twist is selling single vineyard, organically grown varietal wines made as naturally as possible, expressly for people who love wine. According to Asimov, an Oregon rosé also sells its Pinot Noir in cans, but doesn't indicate the grape or the vintage on the label. The winery's website says, quote, it's hard to keep your pinky up when you're drinking wine from a can, and includes the hashtag pinkies down. Regardless of your take on gender wine marketing, and I have discussed this in a previous episode, which I'll put in the show notes at nataliemclean.com/28, it all still comes down to quality and value. As they say in the wine business, the first sale is based on the label, the second is based on what's inside the bottle. So here are my top gift picks for Dad this Sunday. You'll find the full reviews, food pairings, and local liquor store stock in the show notes at nataliemclean.com/28. So first up, we have Tattanger Brut Reserve Champagne from Champagne, France. Is there anything more celebratory than a glass of champagne? Don't save it for just New Year's and the holidays. Father's Day is perfect for a toast to Dad, and it'll also pair well with grilled seafood, portobello mushrooms, and veggies. This robust, non-vintage champagne is a blend of 40% Chardonnay sourced from 35 crus or vineyards, and the remainder is Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier grapes. So it has a full-bodied heft that will pair well with the cherry flavors of the grill. I love this bubbly, not just for its toasty notes of green apples and freshly baked bread, but also for its finesse and the persistence of its bubbles. It's about $60, and I gave it 93 points out of 100. Woohoo! Next up, Villa Maria Private Bin Sauvignon Blanc from Marlborough, New Zealand. This is one of the most consistently delicious and refreshing white wines on liquor store shelves. A vibrant, zesty white with enticing notes of passion fruit and lime. It works well as an aperitif for cocktail parties, or pairs well with a wide range of dishes from steamed shrimp to spinach quiche. The fruit for this wine is gently pressed and the juice is cold settled to retain its freshness. The screw cap is brilliant, especially for the backyard when you don't want to be bothered with a corkscrew. It's only $18, and I gave it 90 points. Next up, we have Guilty Men from Niagara, Ontario. Of course, I couldn't resist this label, but the wine is also terrific. It's an intriguing and rich white wine with layers of flavor and complexity, especially for the price, which is only $15. This is a Niagara blend of Riesling and Sauvignon Blanc grapes. It's aromatic, offering notes of white florals and fresh pear with smoke. It's made by a very respected producer, Malivoire, operating in a gravity flow winery and farming sustainably. Pair it with oysters on the half shell, Indian curry, and spicy dishes. I gave it 88 points. Now we move into our reds, big reds. First up, Ghost Pines Cabernet Sauvignon from California. A smooth, full-bodied red wine that's a blend of 65% Sonoma County Cabernet Sauvignon and 35% from Napa Valley. This wine is named for the gray pines, which at dusk appear ghost-like through the coastal valley. Pair it with meat lovers pizza, grilled burgers, and lamb bolognese. It's $23, and I gave it 90 points. Then we have Tyrrell's Rufus Stone Shiraz from Victoria, Australia. This is a classic Shiraz from Australia named after the Rufus Stone in honor of the rock in the English forest where King William II died when an arrow bounced off an oak tree and pierced his chest while he was hunting. Talk about unlucky. The story goes on that the arrow was from the quiver of Sir Walter Tyrrell, who was an ancestor of the Tyrrell winemaking family responsible for the incident. Why am I thinking of Game of Thrones? I think I'm thinking of, what is this? Tyrion Lannister. Anyway, this beautiful, smooth, layered blackberry, dark plum, and nutty Shiraz makes up for it. Pair this wine with game dishes and grilled meats. It's about $20, and I gave it 92 points. Then we have Sartori Corte Bra Amarone da Valpolicella Classico from Veneto, Italy. Yes, it's a mouthful to say and to drink. Beautifully so, though. A robust, deeply concentrated Amarone. Aromas on the nose and palate of blackberries, smoke, leather, dark spice. Polished tannins, so it's ready to enjoy now. Balanced with a long finish. This is a terrific gift wine for dedicated fathers who attend the ballet recitals, basketball games, and bake sales. It's about $50, and I gave it 93 points. Last up, Quinta de Crasto Vintage Port 2015 from the Douro Valley in Portugal. This is rich and generous, just like most appreciated fathers are when it comes to curfews, car keys, and trust funds. This fortified wine is made from grapes harvested from old vines that are about 80 years old. It's a gorgeous dessert wine with aromas of concentrated blackberry and other dark fruit and spice. The finish seems to last about 24 hours. It's perfect on its own after dinner, or pair it with black forest cake, smoked cheeses, or late evening games of poker. It's only about $30, and I gave it 95 points. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please tell a friend about it, especially one who's looking for some great Father's Day gift wines or gift wines for another occasion. My podcast is easy to find. Just search for it on Google under Unreserved Wine Talk or on my name. You can tag me on Twitter or Facebook at Natalie McLean. On Instagram, I'm at Natalie McLean Wine. You'll find all of the wines and links to them, as well as the liquor store stock, in the show notes at nataliemclean.com/28. Next week, we'll be chatting with Maureen Downey, aka the Wine Detective, about wine forgeries, fakes, and scandals. You're going to learn tips on how to spot a fake wine based on the label and so much more. And if you want to take your wine and food pairing to the next level, join me in a free online video class at nataliemclean.com/class. I can't wait to share more personal wine stories with you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this one. I hope something great is in your glass this week. You don't want to miss one juicy episode of this podcast, especially the secret, full-bodied bonus episodes that I don't announce on social media. So, subscribe for free now at nataliemclean.com/subscribe. Meet me here next week. Cheers.